Good evening. I'm Leslie Greer, your host for Hey Listen. Tonight we'll be discussing supplemental security income with the acronym SSI. And secondly, Social Security disability income, which will use the acronym SSDI. Abuse or misuse? Don't go away. Get yourself a cup of coffee, find an easy chair, relax, and after these commercial words, we'll be right back.
Citibank, upstate New York's most innovative community bank and leading mortgage lender, is proud to bring you Hey Listen.
For more information, call the National Captioning Institute, 1-800-533-WORD.
With 13 local branches, Citibank plays an active role in supporting Rochester's hearing-impaired community. We sponsor closed captioning of the 11 p.m. local news on WOKR TV 13. We provided a grant to create scholarships at the National Technical Institute for the Deaf, and we recently added TDD access to our 24-hour CitiPhone bank-by-phone service. Citibank is proud to continue our support with today's broadcast of Hey Listen.
My name is Thelma Reynolds, and you'd like to apply for SSI?
Yes, I'd like to apply for it, yes, for SSI.
Let me ask you a few questions before we begin to see if you'll be eligible. Are you disabled?
Yes, I'm deaf.
Okay. SSI is a needs program, so I also have to ask you about your income and resources and living arrangements to see if you'll be eligible. Where do you get income from?
Right now?
Yes.
Do I work, you mean?
Yes.
Oh, no, I don't have any job right now.
Okay. Do you have any income at all?
Well, I used to work as a bus girl or a bag girl, for a year, and that's all.
Okay.
And since that time, I've not had a job.
Okay, so you have no income right now at all?
No, I don't. Nothing at all.
Do you have any savings, any money in the bank, savings accounts, checking accounts, anything like that?
Well, I have maybe $2 left.
Okay. All right, let's go ahead and I'll take the application and we'll see if you're going to be eligible. Now, your name is Leslie Greer, and your date of birth is December 22nd, 1956.
Mm-hmm.
And I've written down your Social Security number here, too. Have you ever used any other name?
No, that's always been my name.
Okay. Have you ever used any other Social Security number?
No, it's always been the same.
Okay, where were you born?
Well, I was born in Germany.
Okay. Are you a citizen of the United States?
Oh, yes, I am.
Okay. And you said you were disabled, and your disability is deafness.
That's correct.
Have you been deaf since birth?
No. When I was 2, I became deaf.
So that'd be about 1958 you became disabled.
That's correct.
Okay. Now, do you live alone or do you live with other people?
Well, right now, I have a roommate.
Okay. Do you live in a house, apartment, or what kind of a place?
Well, I live in a room. I board with someone.
Okay, you rent a room in somebody else's home, is that right?
That's correct. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you receive food stamps?
No, I haven't applied for that yet. No, so I haven't.
Do you want to apply for food stamps?
Yes, yes, yes,
Okay.
yes, I'd love to.
How much cash do you have right now? In your pockets or back in your room? Actually in cash?
Right now?
Yes.
Absolutely nothing.
Nothing at all? Okay. Do you have a savings account at a bank?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've got like, what, $2 left, I think it was?
$2 in your savings account. Okay. Do you have a checking account?
No.
Do you have stocks, bonds?
No. Absolutely nothing.
Do you own any life insurance policies?
No, I don't have that.
Do you own a car or a truck or a boat or a camper or a motorcycle?
Oh, I have a car.
You have
Yeah,
a car.
I have a car.
Okay. Just one car?
Yeah, one.
Okay. What year is it?
My car is, well, kind of dilapidated. It's 1965, I think is the year.
What kind of a car is it?
A Dodge.
Okay. How much do you think the car is worth?
I'd say like $100 maybe.
Okay. Do you own any property, a house or land, anything like that?
No, no.
Do you have any property that you've inherited or life use of something?
No, nothing.
Okay. Do you have anything like these things I've mentioned, anything that can be turned into cash?
No, nothing.
Okay. Do you have any money set aside for burial expenses?
No.
Okay. Do you give us permission to check everything that you've told us?
Oh, yes.
Okay,
Be my
and
guest.
And is everything you told me true?
Oh, certainly. Yeah, yes.
Okay. Now, if you have no income, then your roommate must be supporting you. They must be paying all the bills.
Yes.
Yes,
Mhm.
okay.
Definitely.
Okay. Okay. Well, it looks like that you may be eligible for SSI. But what we have to find out now is some information on your disability. So I'll ask you some questions about your disability because we have to send all the information, medical information, to Buffalo. And that's where all our medical decisions are made. So I'll ask you some questions about that. You say
Well, that's interesting.
your disability is that you're deaf. You've been deaf since you were 2 years old.
That's right.
Have you worked since you've become deaf?
Yes.
Okay, when you did work, I'm going to ask you some questions about whether they had to change your duties on your job because of your problems. Okay? Now, you worked even though you were disabled. Did they have to change your duties because of your disability?
No.
Okay. Did they change your hours of work? Were you working full-time and then had to work part-time, something like that?
Oh, no, no, no. Now, during my school years, I worked less during the school year. And during summers off, they would, I'd have additional hours.
Okay, but it had nothing to do with your disability. Did you miss?
Oh, no, no.
Did you miss a lot of days of work because of your problems?
No. I was an angel, complete saint. I went to work dutifully.
Was there anything else that was different that they changed about your job because you were deaf?
Well, I applied and I tried to get a promotion, and the manager turned me down saying that I was deaf.
Okay.
So that's the only incident.
Okay, now in order to get SSI, you have to be disabled and not able to do any work. So can you tell me why you are not able to work because of your problems, because of your disability?
Well, I need to support myself to go to college. So I need to, need money to support myself.
Okay. Now, do you have an audiogram that you brought in with you? Sometimes that speeds it up and we get a decision back faster if you bring an audiogram with you.
I don't have one with me.
All right.
I left it at home.
Okay, I'll give you an envelope and you can send it in to me, and that may
That's fine.
make a decision quicker. Have you been to a doctor in the past year?
Yes. I just went, recently.
Okay. And so we'll write down the names of all your doctors and their addresses so we can get all the medical information from them. Have you had an audiogram in the past year?
Yes, I did. That was just recently, too.
Okay, that'll be good because then you can send it to us and it'll be very recent and we'll send it to Buffalo. So we should get a decision fairly quickly. I want to ask you also some questions about your daily activities. Okay. Do you have any limitations on any household chores that you can do because of your disability? Or can you take care of all the cooking and cleaning, that sort of thing?
Oh, I can do anything I want except for use the telephone. That's the only thing that I cannot do.
Okay. What kind of things do you enjoy doing? Do you have any interest or hobbies, things that you like to do?
Oh, yeah. I like writing letters and swimming and playing practical jokes.
Okay. How do you get around if you need to go someplace? Do you have any limitations on the way you can travel?
Well, I have a car.
Okay, so you drive a car. You have a license and
Yeah.
you're able to drive a car.
Mhm.
Okay. Do you have lots of friends and belong to clubs?
Oh, yes. I have a lot, myriad of organizations I belong to.
Okay. All right, now I need a list of places that you've worked in the past 10 years.
All of them? A to Z?
Well, let's take your main occupation. What's the longest job you had? What you consider your occupation?
I worked in a food store, a grocery store.
Okay, what was your position, the title of your position?
A bag girl. I would put the groceries into the bag, and that's probably what I did for the longest period of time.
Okay, do you work 5 days a week?
Well, during the summer, I worked 6 days a week. And during the school year, just 1.5.
Okay. How much did you make an hour?
$2.50 an hour.
Okay, do you have any other jobs that you've had?
No. No.
Okay. What is the furthest you've gone in school? How many years of education have you had?
School, you're saying, or college? What are you referring to?
College.
Oh, first year. I'm first year in college.
Okay. And what are you studying?
Medical lab technology.
Okay. Have you ever done
MLT.
any work in this area?
No, I haven't yet.
Okay. All right, I'm going to have you sign the forms. And I'm going to have you sign medical releases, too. And by signing the medical releases, you're giving permission to your doctors and schools to release records to us so that we can get all the medical records and decide whether you meet the definition of disability for SSI purposes. Now, this is going to take 4 or 5 months sometimes to get a decision on this case. At that time, if you're allowed, if they say you are disabled and eligible for benefits, we may have to call you in to update the file. Okay? Do you have any questions now? Also, if you're denied, you have the right to appeal the decision. But you have to contact us within 60 days of the time you get the denial letter in order to appeal it. Okay?
So if I get a denial, then I come up and I can discuss this with you as to why I was denied?
Yes, and we'll help you fill out the forms
Oh, okay.
to appeal the decision.
All
There's
right.
different levels of the appeal. That's called a reconsideration. If that's denied, you have 60 more days to file for a hearing. If that's denied, you have 60 more days to file for an appeals council review. And if that's denied, you can sue in civil court.
Okay. Well, I think that completes our interview. Now we're going to take a commercial break. Now don't go away. We're not finished. We have other segments. So after this commercial word, we'll be right back.
Tops never stops making shopping fun and exciting.
Wieso, Schabal? Wenn wir uns jetzt nicht beeilen, verpassen wir den Oktoberfest-Ausverkauf bei Tops Friendly Markets.
It's Tops Oktoberfest sale. See our newspaper ads. For the foods you like and would like to try, we're Tops. And you can enter to win a trip to Germany. Complete details in store. The Oktoberfest sale at your Tops Friendly Markets. It's worth getting to.
Tops never stops.
Hiring a worker with a disability or keeping an employee who develops one can be a challenge, but smart managers find ways. As simple as unstacking file cabinets or changing the telephone, employers can get ideas like this from the Job Accommodation Network, a service of the President's Committee on Employment of People with Disabilities. Dial them. Even the call is free.
If you'd like to run a shop that's all your own, buy yourself a cozy home, steer away from crummy deals, protect your car from roof to wheels, then you'll want this free and helpful book listing 200 government pamphlets. Look, for this new edition, just drop a line. Write New Catalog, Pueblo, Colorado, 81009.
Hello. Our guest is Thelma Reynolds, and she works at the Social Security Administration office. I have a few questions I'd like to ask her. Could you tell me the difference between SSI and SSDI?
Okay, Social Security Disability Insurance, SSDI, is almost an insurance program. When you work, they take FICA taxes out of your wages, and that goes into a fund. And then when you turn 62 and retire or become blind or disabled, you can apply for Social Security Disability Insurance and you can draw out of that fund. SSI, Supplemental Security Income, is a needs program, and it's funded from the general revenues, from everybody's tax dollars. It's actually a public assistance program. It's part of the public assistance program that was taken over by the federal government. It was administered by the counties until January 1st, 1974. So it's more of a needs program.
So you mean that SSI was just established in 1974, and prior to that it didn't exist? And then you had SSI and SSDI?
Okay. Actually, it didn't exist until January 1st, 1974. There were similar programs, but they were all administered by the counties and states, so they were differed from state to state. And in January 1st of 74, the federal government took over it, and they administer now just aid to the aged, blind, and disabled, and it's based on need.
I see. So what kind of disability can people make an application for?
Okay, the definition for disability is the same as it is for Social Security. And it's basically you have to be disabled and unable to do any type of work, expected to last 12 months, or terminate in death. So it's a very, very strict definition of disability.
Okay, so disability means that you're unable to work, but deaf people can work. So how do you distinguish between whether or not they can work or not, and whether or not to give them benefits?
Okay, they actually define being deaf as being a disability. It's defined, and if it's, I'm not sure of the listings, but if their hearing loss is under a certain number of decibels, they're considered totally disabled, and they meet the listings, and they're medically disabled for SSI and Social Security purposes.
So people that have worked for some time and, you know, slave away in labor, and these taxes are taken out, and then there's a distribution, and these funds go and are given to people that just want to lay back and take advantage of the system. You still will support them by giving them benefits?
If they're disabled and they qualify, they're under an income and resource level, they're eligible for these benefits.
I'm wondering that if under SSI and SSDI you could find that someone can work. Can you order them to work, or it's like they just you have to continue giving them the benefits?
No, we can't tell them to work. What we do, one of the requirements once you're eligible for SSI and Social Security too, is we refer these people that are disabled to the Office of Vocational Rehabilitation.
Oh.
And the OVR will contact them and set up an appointment to assess their condition. And if they think possible that they could be trained to do some type of work, they will set up a program for them. One of the requirements to get Social Security disability and SSI disability payments is you have to cooperate with OVR. So if OVR, if you don't cooperate with them, OVR will notify us and we can stop their benefits.
Oh, really? I remember there was a case of people applying for SSI without the need for OVR. But now you're saying OVR can insist or make recommendations, and if they get that support, then you can support them as well?
Okay, I don't know. It sounds like that's a little bit backwards. If they're on SSI or on Social Security, we give them referrals. We refer them to OVR. Then OVR contacts them. And if they don't cooperate with OVR, OVR will notify us, and we can stop their benefits. So cooperating with OVR is a requirement in order to get SSI and Social Security benefits. But we don't enforce it unless you're on the benefits. Then we can enforce it.
This hypothetical person not getting SSI or SSDI goes to OVR, and OVR insists that they go to obtain SSI benefits. Is that true?
I don't know. I think very often with OVR, if they're in college, they suggest they go in and apply for SSI benefits. But I'm not sure about that. Mm-hmm. I know it works our way. I don't know if it works in the reverse.
Oh, I see. Perhaps OVR does, but you do not. I see. Mm-hmm. That's true. Another question that I had was, is there an age that, a minimum age at which you can apply for SSI or SSDI? Or
no, you can apply at any time. Now, to apply for Social Security disability benefits, you have had to have worked, because you have to be insured in order to be eligible for it. Or you have to have a mother or father that's collecting Social Security benefits. And then there has to be somebody who's eligible in order for you to establish any eligibility. But for SSI, there's no requirement like that. But until somebody's 18 years old, we count their parents' income and resources in figuring out whether they're eligible for benefits. After age 18, we no longer count parents' income and resources.
Interesting. Suppose again that I was 2. Can my parents apply for SSI in my behalf?
You're 2 years old?
Yes.
Yes, but we're going to ask your parents about their income and resources in order to figure out whether you're eligible.
Oh. So if I'm just 2 years old and I don't know how to write a check, who's responsible for the money and writing the checks? Is that not correct?
Yeah, your parents. And they're also responsible for supporting you, and that's why we asked about their income and resources in order to see if you're eligible. After age 18, we don't care how much income or how much resources your parents have.
Oh, again, supposing that I was age 2 and I decided to get these benefits, or I was given these benefits, can I just spend these monies and funds in any manner? Or can my parents just use this money, again, if I were 2 years old and to receive the benefits?
Okay, the benefits are to be used for the disabled person's benefit. Your parents are required also to report every so often to the government on how the benefits are used.
Oh, I see.
It's a reporting system. And basically, they have to be used for your support. They can be used for your share of the household expenses, your share of the food, your clothing. Savings accounts can be set up to accumulate the money that's left over. But it has to be used for your benefit. And they do have to account for it. And we do check to make sure it's being used for your benefit.
I see. My parents, now when I'm 18, do I need to report that?
Need to report what?
My parents, I'm over the age of 18. My parents are no longer responsible for me.
Then all we care about now is your income and your resources and your living arrangements for SSI purposes.
I see. Now, some people like to save all this money that they receive in benefits. Is there a limit in the amount that I can have in savings?
Yes, we have resource limits. If you have over $2,000 in resources, you're no longer eligible for SSI.
Oh, what? So if I've got like $2,001, that's it?
That's it.
Woo! Whoa. Okay, I'm sure that there are some that are getting close to the limit, and then they just like kind of slip this money away under another account in another name, and then again when it gets close to the $2,000 limit, then they just kind of sneak that money away. Is there any investigation on accounts?
With any account, you have to put your Social Security number on the account. We get lists from the IRS. We interface with IRS records. And so if the income shows up on IRS records, all the interest, and we get alerts saying there's some accounts here with this person's Social Security number on it. So we do find them.
Very smart. Very good. Okay, right now we need to go away for a commercial break, but our next segment is our speakers pro and con. Don't go away. Be patient. We have a bit more. So after this commercial break, we'll be right back. Can I have a new set?
Citibank is proud to bring you Hey Listen. Visit any of our 13 area branches for all your banking needs or call Citi Phone for TDD Bank by Phone service.
If you need a hand to quit smoking, it's as close as your phone. 1-800-4-CANCER. The Cancer Information Service's free helpline. For answers, for facts, for support to make quitting a little easier. Even if you've tried before, they'll help you try again. And again. And again. So don't give in. Give them a call. 1-800-4-CANCER. And give yourself a hand.
Welcome again. We have two guests with us now during this segment. We have Marlene Krieger, who is in support of the SSI SSDI, and we have Farley Warshaw, who is against these benefits. We'd like to start the discussion here. Marlene, you probably have noticed, has not taken drugs or anything. It's very unfortunate. She had an allergic reaction to poison ivy. So many thanks for her coming in spite of this reaction. Thank you. Thank you, Marlene. Why are you in support of SSI benefits?
Because it helps deaf people get back into society.
Back into society? What do you mean by that?
Well, to be equal with hearing people. Hearing people can do anything they want, all while they're growing up. They're allowed to pick any profession. Deaf people have many barriers they have to face. So we need benefits to help us equal that out.
Yeah, that's true. Farley, why are you so adamantly opposed to these benefits?
Really, as I look at deaf people around the country, I might be in favor of their getting SSI. I don't know if that's an abuse or taking advantage of the system. But I agree, you know, the government program is what I'm against, the fact that the system gives these benefits.
The system, what do you think that's like?
Well, it seems almost like some sort of reparation. Someone grows up and they're deaf and they feel, oh, well, I've got a right to this money. It's almost like the government owes me this. It's something I'm owed.
Now, before you get to that, the abuse, what kind of abuse of the system are you describing?
Okay, many times people who are on SSI are capable of working. They could get a job and go to work. And SSI gives them a free ride. So they figure, oh, this is the easy way out. For example, during the Gallaudet protest, when they were protesting, we should have a deaf president. We said, we should have a deaf president now. Deaf people can do anything hearing people can do. So I asked those folks, well, great, we're all just like hearing people. We can do anything they can. What about SSI? And so, oh no, we should be able to get SSI. We're handicapped.
If I get SSI, it helps me get back into society. It helps me to find a job. And then I'm allowed to pay back the government for the benefit that I received.
Okay, the principle involved here is that there's so many deaf people who see hearing people who go to college and they think, well, I'm going to go to college too, but they feel that the government owes them something, that they've got a right to money.
How? In what way?
But in the eyes of the government, it doesn't matter what we say. We are still handicapped. We are still part of the handicapped population. So why not take...
Uh-huh. So your feeling is that deaf people are handicapped?
No. You can't be a cop because you're deaf. You can't use the phone like hearing people because you're deaf. You're stuck in so many different ways. It's not cheap to be deaf. There are many expenses like TTYs, hearing aids, different things that we have to pay for that hearing people do not. It's extra costs. So there's no way it's an equal situation.
But you see, SSI should ideally help people become independent. It should foster independence. But I have no objection to SSI as a program that helps with basic needs, food, clothing. But I think people on SSI are into a lot of materialistic things. Some of them use the money to buy drugs. Some of them buy cars and put the car in their parents' name. The government doesn't know that's going on. Some of them take really expensive vacations. They travel while on vacation. Someone might be on SSI and they go out and buy a $300 coat. So where's this need for SSI?
Marlene?
You're talking about a small group of the total population. But the people in general, they're not abusing the system, no.
Oh, wait a minute here. Wait a minute. When we talk about the deaf population around the United States, and you look at how many are unemployed, you know how many hearing people are unemployed? Maybe 3%. You look at black teenagers and how many of those people are unemployed. So when you look at these kinds of statistics and talk about, I'm not arguing against SSI as a safety net for basic needs or for security, but when you look at how SSI is actually used by people. You talk about someone who's on SSI being referred to vocational rehabilitation. Boy, I can get behind something like that, but they should have stringent requirements. If someone's going to college, perhaps, they should have minimum requirements. They have to take at least 12 credit hours. And we should monitor how people are doing to help them use SSI appropriately to gain independence and get out of the system. So I don't think there's appropriate controls on that. I don't think people know how it's being used.
Wait a minute. In other words, you're saying that hearing impaired people should go on welfare, or what?
What? Farley?
No. It's an attitudinal thing. I'm not talking about welfare. Some black people are on welfare. Black people might refer to welfare. Deaf people use it the same way, but they talk about SSI. But welfare, when you really look at the welfare program, we're talking about some sort of assistance that's provided to people. And, if someone's on SSI, my issue is how long should they be on SSI? If it's a short-term program where people are on for a couple of years, fine. Some people are on for 5, 6, 7 years on SSI. And
that's correct.
I don't think that's appropriate. If you look to California, people realize benefits in California are a lot higher than they are in other states. So people move to California to get higher benefits.
You're trying to tell me that deaf people need to find a way to support themselves without the SSI?
Well, if they can't get SSI in certain states, that the situation can become worse.
I'm not arguing against individuals and what they're doing. I'm talking about a government program that fosters dependence. And it fosters dependency, and the deaf culture has seemed to accept that in the form of SSI. If SSI led to gainful employment, and it was a carefully designed program to support people so that they got into supportive programs where they got jobs and were independent.
But still they have the programs in SSI, and they refer to OVR for the help and rehab and the different programs there. If without SSI, you have nothing. So you need the SSI in order to get in, to get a start.
I think deaf people really need to start looking at ourselves as capable. We can stand up and speak out and protest and influence the government. And we can see where we can have an effect to make some improvements in the program.
But there's problems.
Help deaf people get on equal footing for hearing people. But we passively accept this as a handout.
They look down on deaf people. How are we going to prove to them that we can do it without the SSI? They look down on us.
Now suppose, for example, I made application for SSI. And I tell them that, no, I don't want to go to college. I wouldn't tell them that I was going to sit back and just get the benefits. I go through the application process, and I get turned down. But my goal was to go to college, not to sit back and
It's not only SSI. There's many other systems that are the same. SSI is not the only one.
Leslie, the types of things you're pointing out, those kinds of examples, that's the problem. When you talk about that attitude where people just want to sit back and be lazy and don't want to work at all, some of those people don't have any skills. They're not employable. They don't have job skills. And if there's a government program or any other programs, not really meeting the true needs those people have, which is supporting them in getting work and getting gainful employment and going to college. And if people are turned down for SSI, I'm not talking again about basic needs. We need that sort of safety net.
Why?
College students, I don't think college students should be getting SSI.
Wait.
I think that's...
But maybe
I'm saying
if they're
that
turned down because the person has some kind of reason, they have too much income, and that's the reason they're turned down. Another person doesn't have enough income. It depends on what each individual has, what their resources are. It depends on that particular person.
Again, suppose that you're in college and OVR will not support me, but I request funds from SSI. It's no different. I need it in order to survive in college.
Well, will that program help you develop a sense of responsibility? I don't think so. I asked one of the classes I was teaching, I polled this class and said, what does SSI mean to you? And they said, gee, it's like a welfare program, it supports me. And I said, no, the purpose is to help you become independent so you can get somewhere. And it was a real shock to these folks. They thought that they'd been getting SSI in high school before they were 18 years old. And I asked them, how come? I said, well, my parents applied for it. But they had no idea why they were getting it.
But if the deaf gets SSI, then what are they going to do? Just sit back and do nothing?
I agree. You know, it's there for the taking, so I can understand why individuals take advantage of that. It's so easy to
So
get
how would you
them
change
against
the
that
system? How would you change the system?
Well, as I've been discussing, we need some programs with some options. One option is work. Another option is college education. That's fine. That leads to work. But I think that, you know, SSI shouldn't just hand out money with nothing expected in return.
They have those programs.
Okay.
They have them.
Okay, but again, suppose that you have, there are 2,000. Do you have the time to investigate all those? 2,000 applicants. SSI gets 2,000 applicants. Do they have time to do a thorough check on that each time?
It's the same with vocational rehab and VR. They take the time to look into the situations. Of course they do. The VR system seems to have more oversight. And if people aren't doing things responsibly, they get tossed out of the system. You know, the goal is to close cases and get people's jobs. There's a measurement there. You know, there's evaluation of the program,
I'm sorry.
honestly.
Our time has run out. Thank you. It was a wonderful discussion. We still have more and another segment. You know, take a break, but be right back after this commercial word.
Tops never stops making shopping fun and exciting.
Wieso, schau mal, wenn wir uns jetzt nicht beeilen, verpassen wir den Oktoberfest-Ausverkauf bei Tops Friendly Markets.
It's Tops Oktoberfest sale. See our newspaper ads. For the foods you like and would like to try, we're Tops. And you can enter to win a trip to Germany. Complete details in store. The Oktoberfest sale at your Tops Friendly Markets. It's worth getting to.
Tops never stops. Beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountains' majesties, above the fruiting plains.
America is burying itself in over 500,000 tons of trash every 24 hours. If you're not recycling, you're throwing it all away.
I'm not going to be sitting up on the set. I want to come back out here and be like a deaf Oprah. Okay, and our audience will address questions to our guests.
I'd like to know if a person is deaf or hearing, really doesn't matter, and they're looking and searching for work, and they haven't been able to secure a job. How can they support themselves during that time? Where could they get money?
Like Farley said, don't bother with SSI. Turn to a life of crime.
No, really, I support individuals who need to get SSI, and they should have those choices. But I think there should be limitations and there should be expectations. The government's willing to offer those sorts of programs. I think people should also be required to go to vocational rehabilitation and work towards getting a job. And I think the program should lead people to where they can be self-supporting and independent. I'm in favor of helping to support people while they prepare to be independent.
All right, suppose you had to set up a program. What kind of program would you set up? I just want to know.
Vocational rehabilitation, that's a good concept, and the goal is to get people jobs. But that's not enough. That's not enough in isolation. Perhaps we need to have some sort of business that can help support people. You know, to help support people become independent, whether they're handicapped or not.
Well, how is a deaf person supposed to know which program to choose? Which program is right for me?
Hearing people have so many choices, so many options, so many different routes to becoming independent. I think for deaf people, there's a lot more limitations.
Please.
I'd like to ask Thelma about SSI benefits. You can get SSI benefits up until age 18, but my daughter just finished school, and she's 19. Will she be able to continue to get SSI benefits?
I have a feeling you might be confusing Social Security benefits and SSI benefits. You can...
SSBI is what I'm interested in. For children who don't have a lot of money? Poor? SSB. Benefit B?
Okay, I think your child is collecting Social Security benefits, and they can collect it until they're out of high school. And then they can't. But then they can apply for SSI at that point. And also, if they're collecting Social Security, they're collecting it because there was a wage earner, a father or a mother who's either collecting benefits or who's dead. Is that right?
I'm currently unemployed. And her father isn't supporting her. So under my Social Security number, she gets benefits, and they call that SSBI.
Okay, she's collecting Social Security under your account. Okay.
That's correct.
Well, now she's a disabled adult child. She can continue to get benefits. Before she was collecting as a student, as a child. Now she has to go down to the Social Security office. Is she deaf?
No, she's hearing.
Oh, no. Then the benefits stop. If the child is disabled, then they can continue to get benefits. If they're not, the benefits do stop. She can't apply. She can't apply for SSI unless she was disabled too.
I'd like to ask Thelma a question. I've been in training for 1 year, and I'm wondering if SSI should pay for that. I mean, suppose I'm not training. After my training, I'm not hired. Perhaps, it seems not fair that my benefits would stop after training is over. Will the benefits continue after my training finishes?
Certainly. They'll continue.
If you would, please.
I'd like to ask Thelma a question. Suppose I'm collecting SSD. I wonder if I can get under-the-table work. Is that okay? I mean, does that happen?
Okay, we're talking about SSD or SSI?
SSD.
Okay, well, both of them.
Maybe I could sell something or be involved in some under-the-table kind of work. If I was collecting SSD and I sold things sort of under the table, would that be appropriate or legal?
Well, no, it's illegal. You have to, any kind of work has to be reported, and you have to pay FICA taxes on it. And that's IRS rules, Internal Revenue Service. And in order to be on SSI, if you don't report any work to us, that's actually fraud. You're defrauding the government. So it does have to be reported.
Please.
I have an experience in '78 when I went into school. I got SSD and my husband got SSDI. We graduated and moved to our home. We hadn't gotten a job yet, and my husband finally found work, and we both reported this to SSD and SSI, and 5 years later, Social Security office came and, told us they wanted to fine us. They were very angry. I mean, it was a good thing that we had fortunately documented all of our actions. We had to go to court, and it was waived. But why would they approach us 5 years later? That seems like such a long time. I mean, 5 years.
It probably wouldn't happen now. Our records are a lot more up to date than they used to be. And the wages do go on the computer a lot faster. As any place else, sometimes we make mistakes.
Okay, thank you.
If we could, have another response?
I'd like to respond related to that. Another problem with the Social Security Department, the Social Security Administration, is the red tape, the bureaucracy, all the paperwork involved in the paper trail. I think when deaf people have experience with that, they get really frustrated. They go in and they apply and they qualify, they're eligible for benefits, and they're paid some money. Then they find out, they've been overpaid and there's something where they'll stop their benefits for a while or cut down their benefits, and then they start sending people letters and call them in and say, hey, you owe us from before, and there's this backlog, so really you should have stopped before. And I think there's no real advocacy, or there's no counselors available. I think it's really frustrating for people.
That's true.
The social welfare type of programs can have that happening with them.
It's immensely complicated program.
Okay, I'd like to ask the woman with the blonde hair. I support Farley's argument. Government programs, in some ways are good for deaf people all across the country. But if the systems don't change, they may influence people to be dependent or actually sort of slow on in improving themselves. People find that these benefits are there and they decide to take advantage of them rather than pursuing, if they didn't know about these benefits, they might hurry up and get a job or get into training. People develop dependencies on programs like this. I'm wondering if these programs couldn't be changed to make them better.
Not necessarily, because hearing people have opportunities that the deaf do not. Like they can go to certain places and we can't. The deaf are patronized and not allowed. We need opportunities to advance ourselves, to go to school so that we can be equal with the hearing population. The federal government, it's all part of the system.
Well, you say the government should help people, but when you look at that, hearing people don't have that kind of support. They have to, struggle through and everything. Why shouldn't deaf people have to make the struggle? Today we have government work, or government subsidies for people. I think deaf people and hearing people should go to work. They should sort of fend for themselves rather than being dependent upon the government.
Hearing have welfare programs. They have different organizations. It's not only for the deaf. SSI is for more than just the deaf. They know about social services.
I'd like to respond to that too. Many times we look at SSI as perhaps something that really slows us down. Often people just aren't motivated to really go out and get a job done. I think it slows people down, and then later on, they might drop out of college or stop out of college, and they put off really getting the training they need, getting a good job. I think it's a different type of obstacle itself. People need real-world experience, and you can function in a hearing world, and you can get a job. I think it's part of the culture, SSI itself, that helps keep us passive, and in some ways it's a hindrance.
Deaf don't have to have SSI. They become peddlers and they push carts and we're patronized. And I work selling.
Well, that's not a real
pushing
job.
Carts all over.
You peddle
It's an employment.
ABC cards. You go out begging with ABC cards or selling drugs. Neither of those is a real
It's
job.
better than a crime.
Social Security and SSD will increase every year, their benefits. I'm curious, is there a maximum of $850 a month, or could you make even more money than that, or would you earn more money than that per month?
The amount of benefit you get, is that what you're asking me?
Yes.
Okay. For SSI, that's a real hard question to answer because it depends on your living arrangement. SSI, the first thing we establish in figuring out your benefit is your living arrangement, and then I can tell you how much you can make. There's a different level. Basically, if you live alone, you get $454 a month. If you live with other people, you get $391 a month. If you live with people that support you, as Leslie did in our example, you get less money than that. If you're in the hospital, you get a different amount of money. So I always start with that basic amount, and then I figure out your income, and you get certain exclusions, and then I deduct that from that basic rate I figured out, and that's how I decide how much you get. So it's a real hard question to give you just a quick answer.
So there's no real maximum for these funds?
For SSI, it's according to your living arrangement. I have a maximum amount that you can get. for each living arrangement. Then I take your income and take away any exclusions, and then I deduct it from that rate, and that's how I decide how much you get. So I can't give you a real quick answer.
Thank you.
Thank you. That is the end of the opportunity for questions from our audience. But we still have one more segment. So we'll go away for a commercial break, and then we'll be right back.
Hi-ho, this is Kermit the Frog, and this is one of my very favorite places, a forest. You know, forests are home to lots of animals, and they give us wood, and they keep our water and air clean. Unfortunately, these days our forests are in trouble. They're being threatened by development and people who don't treat them with respect. To find out what you can do to help, write to Forests, National Wildlife Federation, Washington, D.C. 20036. Remember, forests are more than trees.
Hi, I'm Sky Sands for the Canada Connection. Sky, that's Volunteer Connection. Volunteer Connection offers thousands of volunteer jobs. All you got to do is call TTY 454-1100 to nurse today. He means sign up today. So lend a helping hand. Call the Volunteer Connection and give them your egg today. Give them your name today. Sky, let's talk.
I would like to thank all of our guests. I would like to thank Marc for interpreting for us and for our audience as well. Again, we have Thelma Reynolds. Thank you for coming. Marlene, thank you. And again to Farley as well for coming. We just have a few people in our audience. Are you afraid of coming? Do you receive SSI benefits and you're afraid to be found out? Well, if you have any comments about, hey, listen, the program, be it brief or lengthy, we would love to have those comments. We'd like to see you at our next program. So